Hello all, very good morning. Uh, today, the first demo session that I am going to give on Azure SQL DBA. The main objective of this course is just like to push up from February 15th onwards, or like the calls are going to start. Okay, so that more projects are coming into one. That's the reason. If you add this Azure SQL database administration course in your resume, then the n number of opportunities will get increased than before. So that the main motivation of this course. Okay, and I'm going uh, like uh, let's enter into the course. Okay, so we all know that like on-prem SQL Server. Okay, like coming to SQL Server types, we have on-prem SQL Server. One is SQL Server on Linux environment. Okay, and the second thing is like SQL Server on Azure Virtual Machine and SQL Server Managed Instance. And what is that? Azure SQL database. So these many SQL servers we have. If we learn on-prem SQL server, everything will be easy. Okay, just like what we have to know what are the features that is been there supported, and what are not there. So that's the only thing we need to learn. Okay, now cloud is, right? Cloud Cloud is divided into mainly into three categories. One is SaaS, one is IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. Okay, now I'm going to write it here. IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. You know the difference. ISS stands for infrastructure as a service. PaaS stands for platform as a service. Like SaaS stands for software as a service. Now here we have three servers. Like this one called it as SQL Server on Azure VM comes under IaaS. SQL Server managed comes under PaaS. Azure SQL database is also comes under PaaS. But but we are like, since even though SQL Server managed instance, Azure SQL database as a PaaS instance, but it is very similar to the SaaS service. That's the reason, and we are working on only one single databases, as per our requirement. Okay, we are calling it as a DBAS, database as service. Okay, now, so where we need to start to learn Azure and everything? First, we need to have Outlook account. Okay, so if you go through that, like how our Gmail would be like, right? The same way we need some Outlook account. If you see my email here, see mssqldbatechteam at outlook.com. So you need to create like this. Okay, just like our email account. Now you need to go to the portal.azure.com. So first time you will get this kind of interface. Okay, so like for the first time, what the Microsoft is going to give 200 free credit and some free services. Okay, like let's here we have two free services. Okay, what is that? Microsoft is going to give Windows virtual machine with 750 hours, and this is the configuration. So Linux machine, like these are all like free services. Azure SQL, they are going to give Azure SQL database with 250 GB, and that too 10 databases per transaction units only. I mean DTUs. Okay, so now what exactly now we can look into like how we can create the portal account. Okay, so once it is done, once you visited portal.azure.com, so here you need to click the start. Yeah, 1 minute. Double 327 932. So 503551. For previously, we have own my port Azure.com is going to accept only credit cards, but now they have accepting debit cards as well.
Please stop the screen and use it now.
Yeah, no, no issues. Okay, I will change everything. Okay, to that.
Harsha, should I share my debit card with you? Just stop the screen.
Yeah,
This one.
yeah, not required. Okay, just thank you. No issue. I'm going to blocking this credit card after this after this call. Okay, why? Because I'm closing this. Where is my 06947 9? Yeah. Now it is saying that please provide credit card and add a new sign up method. No, thanks. So previously, I'm having one like this is credit card only, right? I have provided. Okay. Click. You need to click the sign up here. So since my data is already there with Microsoft, so that's the reason it is not allowing me to create a free sign in account. So who are yet not yet registered, so they will get the like free account. 8221325. So this is not required for me. Now let's see. So I have successfully created an account in portal.com using my Outlook mssql tech team. So now we have successfully done that. Okay. Now what exactly we are going to do here? So I have worked on a only like 3 years as a Microsoft support engineer only for Azure SQL database. So now our workshop only depends upon the Azure SQL database only. So if you want to SQL Server managed instance per day, we need to pay 5,000 rupees for the Microsoft. So this is very costly. So that's the reason nobody are showing the demos or like anything 1 or 2 weeks like that. Okay, so our job is only to concentrate Azure SQL database. Now you tell me the difference. Now we have on-prem SQL Server. Okay, once we purchase on-prem SQL Server, the n number of databases we can create. Yes or no? Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So it's all depends upon and we can create. So only the cost depends upon the one-time purchase. Okay. But in the SQL, but on for Azure SQL database, SQL Server is free. SQL Server is free, but databases cost. We need to pay how many databases you are going to create. That many license. That much amount you have to pay. Okay, so here on-prem SQL Server, what we have named instance or default instance. Named instance means what is the host name that you are having that will become as a SQL Server name. But here in the Azure, so we have I know everybody will have surname, right? So here also Microsoft Azure SQL database will have one surname. That what it is means database dot windows dot net. This is a surname. Okay, after that you can create whatever the name you want, like harsha.database.windows.net, like whatever. Okay, like gmcon, um, like or whatever, like sai. So it is your SQL server. For demo purpose, what I'm going to, I will create demo 608. Okay, I'm going to create this my SQL server. Okay, now let's come here, go to here. Now either we can type here Azure SQL. Once you type Azure SQL, we will get these many. Now you can click this one or this one, whatever you want you can click this. Okay, now create Azure SQL resource. Now see, I already told you, right, we have three SQL Server and Azure VM, SQL Server managed instance, and SQL Server database. Here we can say this is the SQL Server Azure SQL database, this is managed instance, this is SQL Server and Azure VM. If you go this option SQL Server, I mean you are going to get Windows Server along with standard stream. It is pre-installed in that automatically. SQL Server you are just going to deploy and directly going to use it. Okay, now here we need to select the database server. Okay, like click create. Okay, by god grace we got a free account. Okay, so resource group, what is mean by resource group means a logical like a logical boundary of the where we can put all the resources together. This is the definition you have to say in the interview, but for the training purpose, in simple language I am saying that one folder. Okay, in simple terms, I am having a huge collection of volumes of movies. What I will do, I will create a folder. I will create and I will like a Tollywood, Bollywood, Hollywood. I will move those respective movies into respective folders, right? So now you tell me what is the meaning of the folder. It's a logical boundary where we can keep all these files all in one together, right? The same way resource group is a folder in the cloud, in Azure cloud. Okay, now you need to create like Harsha, whatever you name, hyphen rg. Why I named it is a naming convention, you can give anything, but whenever I see that, right, Arsha, okay, this is resource group. By see, in the real time we are having n number of objectives, right? So to identify by seeing itself we have to identify, that's the reason. Most of the members will recommend hyphen rg. Okay, so now I'm just created the resource group here. Now test demo 07 or 08. See, server name and everything is valid. Okay, so now for example we are working a US client. Okay, so US application, everything will reside in the US. Okay, so that's the reason wherever your application or databases users are there, so in that location also, in that location only you have to create to avoid any network issues and latencies. So it is the one of the best practice but not mandatory thing. Okay, so my client is like is staying in the US, just assume like that, so I need to stay in the US. So if you say the US, okay, we are having East US, East to Central US, so these many regions we have. Okay, now right now for demo purpose I am going for, I don't have any clients from US. Okay, it's like just for namesake, I'm going selecting the East US only. Now here previously Azure Act we used to call Azure Active Directory, now they name it as a Microsoft Entry ID. Now we need to select the authentication method. Use the Microsoft only authentication and use this one. So as of now, I will going with the use SQL authentication mode. Like Harsha, this is the password I have configured. Okay. Now next. So what it means? In the interview, they will ask you, Harsha, I have enabled allow Azure services resource to access the server. What does it mean? Okay, so it means anybody from Azure resources can connect to the this SQL server what you are going to get create. It means like is it any security threat or not? Yes. Who, like, if I have valid credit, if I know your valid credentials, I can connect from Azure resources. Okay, so for name demo purpose I'm just enabling this as, but in the real time like depends upon the security sensitivity and everything we have to make sure. Now we have a private endpoint, so no, most of them they are using with the private endpoint. Okay, so like I'm very much confident that I don't reveal any, I mean I don't have any password policy, like I don't share to anybody, my password is very secure. In that case you can directly enable this option. Okay, now go to the security. So identity is something different. Okay, like we don't require this thing. And transparent database encryption will encrypt the database backups, but as of we will show separately this one. Okay, so as of now you just go to the default. By default it will, by default TDE is encrypted by Microsoft itself, but if you don't want to use Microsoft TDE, then you can use your own, that we call it as a BOK, bring your own key. Now Microsoft Defender for SQL. Okay, so this Microsoft Defender SQL will analyze the SQL server and will it identify the threats and what are the, what, for example let's assume that I have enabled SA account and I have not been using for very long time. So now this defender will identify, Harsha, you have enabled these are accounts has been there from very long time, but you are not been using. So please disable this or uh, or remove that. So it will give the security indications. So like what the, this is the Microsoft strategy. Microsoft here is here offering you database service. Along with this, it is adding its own antivirus software. Okay, it is like their marketing. Okay, now tags are something which we need to identify like ours by seeing that this is like what is this SQL server. So I will type ms SQL server. What is that value? It's a test server, test environment, test for our identification purpose only. Apart from that we don't have anything with the tags. Now go and create. Now so you can download this template if you are if you want to automate, or otherwise you can go for create. Meanwhile open your SSMS. What is SQL Server name? Test demo 08 dot database dot windows dot net. Okay, so by default we don't have Windows authentication. Why? Because we are deploying on the Azure. Okay, so we need to go for SQL Server authentication only. So apart from all this, this is how we have started at 8:23:7. So meanwhile, um, like they will ask you, like in the interview, how many you said Arsha, you said Azure SQL Server is free. So like that I can block and everything, right? So some fellows will be there, like for example, Google is there, Google company, famous company is there. So somebody will log in with their name, login, and they will block the server names, right? So like for example, if I what if I will do, if Google dot, just assume like that, okay, like for example, Accenture dot database dot, they will block this kind of usernames. So that's the reason Microsoft has put some limitations, like how many users, how many SQL servers can create per region wise. Azure SQL database resource limits. Otherwise, Azure SQL database. Resource limits. Yeah. Now, this is the like I will take one snap here. So for namesake, okay, very rarely they are going to ask. Okay. So now what the answer is like databases. Okay. First, one database you can create 5,000 databases. Okay, for on one server. Okay, by default, like per region in the used to use region. Okay, like I can create up to 20 servers. Okay, up to 20 servers per region. Like that, how many regions we have? N number of regions. East US is there, US. For each region I can create n number of regions in requirement. Okay, in for example, you don't require, I mean, you have already reached 20 logical servers, but you want to create some more. For that you can create, go for maximum logical servers per second in region 250. How we have to get the 250? You need to raise the ticket and you need to mention that, okay, the business logic why you required these many servers. So then they will consider this request, and they will internally they should, okay, if we how many how much money we are getting from this user, they will see all these, and okay, this user is very beneficial, let's enable this. So by considering all the financial things, loss and profits from your from that account, and they will enable this 250 limit for you. Okay, now we know that how many logical servers we have, like everything, right? Now you tell me here, for on-prem SQL servers, if I want to purchase, what is the main thing that we are Microsoft is going to consider? How is it going to give the license or free, or it is going to consider memory, or is it is going to consider hard disk, is it going to consider CPU? Which one it is? Anyone please?
license.
CPU, right? So how many cores we have, that many license we have to purchase. Here, what the Microsoft is going to do here is, everyone, Microsoft wants everyone, each and everybody wants to use their services. For example, I am an individual freelancer. Okay, I need only one single database. For only single database with 10 GB. Okay, for that purpose, I cannot use Express Edition. Why? Because Express Edition will support only 5 GB. Okay, so I need some more than that. but I cannot pay for like 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs or for single database, right? So here, so Microsoft keeping all of this in his mind, and they came with this all this option, like it has come its own proprietary resource metric, what that is called DTU. D, okay, DTU stands for database transaction unit. Okay, we are having one more thing, EDTU. Okay, that is called elastic database transaction unit. In the interview, the first question you get from Azure SQL database end is what is DTU and EDTU. Okay, you need to start with like this. DTU stands for database transaction unit, and Microsoft it is a Microsoft proprietary what is, okay, so leave it, Microsoft proprietary resource metric. This is how you need to say. And one more thing, 100 DTUs, 100 DTUs is equal to 1 vCore. Okay, not only in terms of like, okay, 100 DTUs is equal to 1 vCore in general, and it will vary for, we have different editions will be there, right? For remember one thing, for as of now 100 DTU is equal to 1 vCore, and in addition, not only CPU, some memory and some resource metric, some store IO input and output will be there in the DTU. Okay, that Microsoft is not going to reveal to us. For generally consider 1 vCore is equal to 100 DTUs. So this is you need to say in the interview. Database transfer. DTU stands for database transaction unit, and it is a Microsoft proprietary resource metric. 100 DTU is equal to 1 vCore. Okay, now elastic, we have one more concept is a elastic data pool. There we will discuss about elastic DTO. Why it is calling it as same data used work exactly, it is a Microsoft proprietary, but where it comes to elastic pool. So for example, we are having like whenever CPU requirement is very high, we will get that much of CPU. So we are increasing the CPU resources as per dynamically elastic, right? So if you pull the elastic, it will get expand, right? So that's the reason we call it as a elastic. The same thing here also, it is a elastic database, same here also. For the elastic also 100 is equal to in general. Now you tell me, what are the additions that we have in on-prem SQL server? Can anyone help me with that? Can anyone please?
Standard
And there was standard. Okay,
developer edition.
Development.
development,
Express
Express
edition.
Enterprise.
Express.
express enterprise I have written,
uh,
web edition.
Web edition.
Yeah, so like these many we have, like these many editions we have, right, in on-prem SQL server. But in the SQL server we have two categories. One is like uh, one is like the DTU model, and one more thing is like I will write it in DTU and vCore. DTU purchasing model, and vCore purchasing model. In DTU, we are having basic, standard, standard, premium. Now, vCore purchase model, I don't remember to be frank. So I think business critical.
General purpose and business critical also.
Yeah, yeah, business critical. What is one more thing?
GP, general purpose.
General purpose.
GPBC.
Mm.
I think one more thing, hyperscale.
Yes, general purpose, right? Hyperscale. Okay, so we have these many models, but as of now we have not yet created any databases. We have just created the server. Okay, now go to resources. Now, so where here we are having our SQL server name. You just copy here and go to SSMS, paste it here and select authentication. Type the name, username and password. So it is asking as of now. Okay, I don't have any I didn't allow SQL server any IP rules to log in from there, right? So that's the reason it is asking here. Okay, but I don't want to sign let's assume that I don't have any username and passwords to log in into the portal. Okay, but in the real time it will be like that only. Okay, now you just go to Google and type what is my IP. So it will come like this. Now you can copy this one and you can drop an email to your admin who are your portal administrator who is been and have authentication. Now you can come to networking. Where is networking? Come here and now come here and here we can have right add firewall rule name home. You can give the start IP, paste it, and end IP, paste it, save it. Like this I can enable at the time I am working. We can have 120 IPs like this. Now at once it is successfully done. Okay, and done, right? Now you can directly connect. Now I have successfully created the SQL server and added the firewall rule in SQL server, and we have connected to the SQL server. Now uh, like if you see here I am able to see the master database only. What about remaining databases? It means in for SQL server we have everything, master model tempdb, everything will be there, but they don't visible to us. Only master database is visible to us, but they are uh, internally get created, but and they are hidden by architecture purpose. Okay, it will be there. And one more thing is I'm going to connect one to on-prem SQL server. Okay, and if you see here, select star from sys databases. So we have these many databases, right? So and you will see that database ID, resource ID, we have so many things. Okay, but when you do the same thing here, see, we have only master database. It doesn't mean that you don't have any tempdb model. It will be there, but it will be hidden. Okay. And one more thing, we have temp database, right? What the temp database? Temp database is going to be used by all the databases in on-prem, but in the SQL server of Azure. Okay, for every temp db, for every database file, for every database we have separate temp db, and it depends upon your price. If you increase the codes, and the n number of temp db files will get increased. This is like one small tech tip. Okay, and let's create one more database here. Okay, now go to overview. Now here we can create a create database. Now type in test. Now I don't have any elastic pool as right now. So here workload environment is like new type of option, like to like to do some magic, not kind of magic. they want money, right? So if you select the production, they will choose like a high standard of SQL Server so that they can have more money. So by default, like you can, this doesn't mean anything, okay? You just select whatever you want. It will just change the service type. Later we can change if, okay. Right now I'm selecting with the development environment. Now you can click configure database. Now I told you, right, like we can have DTU purchasing model, and DTU we are having basic, standard and budget. Can anyone say why the premium was grayed out? Anybody please?
It's a free
Yes,
subscription.
yes. Why, yes, good. So it's a free subscription. What the intention of free account is, Microsoft wants you to test or experience all the SQL servers. If I give you the premium service, okay, what is the amount? The $200 that Microsoft has given, it will finish only in 2 days. Then how can you experience? That's the reason Microsoft has uh, uh, given some limitations. Now for demo purpose, I am going to create in the basic, okay. See in the data, in the basic, imagine 5 DTUs. They are going to give 5 DTUs, okay, and that database size is only 2 GB. There is no chance here either I can enable that. So if you are having less than 2 GB or 1 GB, then you can go for this, just like introduction, okay. Now budget friendly, you come here in the DTU, I am having 2 GB, I can increase that up to 220 GB in the, if we have 10 DTUs. If I increase that 100 DTUs, I can increase to 1024 GB. It means almost 1 TB. It means the number of DTUs will get increased, the number of database max size supported will also get increased. Now here you can see that estimated cost per month. For now I am going to use basic only. Just click apply. Now we are having like backup redundancy, local zone redundant. What is mean local means, in Hyderabad we have Mindspace. Okay, in the Mindspace we have two different buildings of same company. In one company, I mean, if you go with the local option, in the same build, you have deploy in one building, main servers are there. In another building, the backups are going to get created. Okay, so if one building got collapsed, so you have backups of in another building. Let's assume that if you go with the zone redundant option, so every day Microsoft data center is paired with another data center in nearby. So in India we have south, and another is like something different. In south we have different, like North India and South India, right? So same that if anything happens in south, your backups will be available in zone. If you go with the geo redundant, okay, so geo redundant means if we can have in one country we have data center, and your backups are going to get copied in one more data center. If you are, for example, if you consider Ukraine, if anything happens to Ukraine, like due to nuclear war, all your data will get collapsed, right? So if you go with the redundant option, okay, you can have your backup copies, so that from there you can restore your copies and you can do work. So this is what exactly the redundancies. So right now I'm going with the local redundancy storage. Now click on next. Okay, I add client, I already added, no issues. So I'm just going with that. So we will see the connection policy in short. So right now I'm going next. So now right now configure legend we are not going to cover. Why? Because it is very rarely used. It is like hardly 1%, not even 1%, 0.1% only. This is also we are not going to cover. Why? Because this required high end level uh, setup to show you. Okay, so if you have any backup sample, you can use that backup, or you can, if you go with the, it will use the adventure sample database. So as of now I'm going with the none. So this is the default server collision, case insensitive, action insensitive. This is the maintenance window. So you can give the tags, right, not required for me. just create and just create. So per month I need to pay 416 rupees. Now we will see the limits. Okay, DTU resource limits. Okay, like if you standard, right? So for if you go with the basic service tier, we will get maximum 5 DTUs, 2 GB, and concurrent sessions like 30 sessions. And like it means it you open there, come here, and you open like new window, new query, and with like 30 windows, it is done. You are not, I mean, after 30 you cannot do anything until unless those 30 sections got closed. So these are maximum external connection. Okay, so this is for standard. This is like premium service tier. If you go with the 125 DTUs, you will get 500 GB. So this is up to maximum. You can use that for that one T1 service tier. Maximum 200 members can get connected at the time, and at a time, and at the same time, that is a maximum thing. These are the external connections. Correct. Max current session 30,000. So these are like now if you see that I already in the last in the 5 minutes back only I told you, right? Like for every database we have these many database sizes and these many files. If you go with the basic service tier, we will get 13 GB point, almost 14. Let's take the round figure 14, like 14 GB MDF file, and like one that is only one file. Okay, like if you go with the same configuration, if you go with the S3 only, S4, we are having two temp DB files. So this is how the performance get will increase if you are having huge number of temp db like variable, like if you want to use local temporary variables, global variables, and it is occupying more space. So that if in that case you require more gb, more space for temp db. And that's like if you go with this kind of edition, like service layer objective, then you may get this many database sizes and these number of temp db files. Okay, I think we have got created, right? Yeah, it got created. Now you come here, you just refresh here. See, we got this database. Now if you go here and type the C edition, select that. See, Microsoft latest 12 doesn't mean that. So this SQL Server RTM edition and this edition is different. Don't get confused. If you do the same thing here, select edit. So 2015 edition. So we basically we know that if we go with the Azure, we will get the one of the benefit what we get is we can use the latest versions. Okay, we are having 12, here we are having 15. Okay, it doesn't mean that like we are having we are using low end SQL Server. It's not correct. So it means in the Azure SQL Server, this is the first edition. Okay, for 2019 it is 15, right? For on-prem for Azure SQL Server, this is the latest edition. 12 is the latest. Okay, so this naming convention is different. This naming convention is different. Okay, now if you see that, I will show you in that right now. If you go with the options, see, we are having compatibility latest 22. Okay, so it means we are using latest version, latest features of SQL Server only. Now the interview question what we get in the first interview question what you get is like what is the database extension, what is DTU and DTU stands for, like what is on which edition you mostly you worked on, and like the second question is, can you Arsha, can you explain Azure SQL Server architecture? So if you want, you can use this page. In the short I will explain you. By default by default we are having three connection policies. One is redirect, proxy and default. I will show you. Okay, now this is me. Okay, whenever I want to connect to our SQL server. Okay, now first time by default it will be there. I'm connecting from non Azure resource. It is my home laptop. Okay, first it will go to the gateway, and it will go to the cluster, and it will go to the respective node of our SQL server. Okay, for since I am not connected to the Azure resources, I'm not using Azure resource. I'm not connecting. I'm not trying to connect from Azure resources, right? So every time, each and every time, it will go to the gateway, and it will go there. So what if you go with like this? Okay, what will happen? So latency, network traffic will. It's you tell me, right? In let's assume that in our home only we are having four rooms. Let's say if you want to go enter into each and every room, every time you need to open the lock, how it would be look like? It will be very inconvenience, right? In our home only, if you want to enter each and every room, if you want to open the key lock, it will be very inconvenience for us, but it will very security, right? Yes or no? Yes. Hello.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So, first option, I will tell you. If you use the redirection connection policy, first time it will go to the redirect, and directly it will for next time onwards. Okay, if you query the database directly, it will go to the database only. It will not touch the database. That is what the redirect means. To work with the redirect option, you need to allow these ports from where you are trying to connect. Okay, so this for proxy. Okay, you need to enable 1433 port. What is mean by proxy? What I have said previously. Yeah, if you connected to SQL server, each and every time when you do one single query only, it will go to the gateway. Okay, yes, this is the proxy. Each and every time it will go to the gateway, and it will go to the node. It will connect each and every time. What if I click open like this? Okay, if I do one query it like this, it means I have connected to the SQL server, right? But when I do open new query and test again also, it will go to the gateway, and it will go to the respective node. But in the redirection option, first time it will go to the gateway, and the second time onwards it will go to the respective node. So this is how you need to answer. Like I am going to repeat once again. In Azure SQL server, we are having three connection policies. One is redirect, proxy and default. Okay, redirection connection policy means first connection will go to the gateway, and the remaining all connections for that after the first connection, it will go directly to the node. Coming to proxy, each connection will go through the network. Each connection will go to the gateway only, but it is very tightly secured, and there is a lot of connection. And Microsoft connection only considers and recommends to use redirection connection policy only. Then what is mean by that this thing? Okay, I will tell you. Uh, I will open the paint here. This is Azure SQL Server database. Okay, sorry. This is on-prem computer laptop. Oh, yeah. This is Azure virtual machine. Now, if you trying to connect, which is from not Azure resources. So that's the reason if you go with the like if you're trying to connect from non-Azure, laptop is our own thing, right? Okay, so directly it will use each and every time it will use redirect only. If you select the direct, it will select proxy. Okay, if you trying to connect from Azure VM only, this Azure VM is Azure resource only, then it will use redirection connection policy. Okay, so this is what the main different default. Whenever the default means if you are connecting from non Azure resources, then it will proxy each and why, because they don't have trust on like on us, right? So maybe somebody might log in also with your name, with your for your SQL server. That's the reason each and every time it will go with the proxy only. So so now it's your duty. If your client experiencing connection issues, then you go and change from default connection policy to redirect, which is the basic which is the mandatory thing. If your customer is facing any connection issues or network latency slowness, the first thing you need to start with the redirect connection policy only. And if you tell me I have created the SQL server, right? So these are the public gateways and subnets. Now if I am opening command prompt, bring test demo 08 dot dot database dot windows dot net. See, I am getting this number, right? 20 dot 20 dot. You just copy, remove the last character. Why? Because we have subnet, right? So here, see, in the east US region, we can, I mean, our SQL server is connect. In the interview, they might ask you, like, you don't have a portal access, right? You don't have portal access. Now, customer is asking you, what dropped an email. Um Arsha, may I know in which region I have deployed this SQL server? So you don't have no portal access. Portal admin is in leave or is in out of shift. So how we can know in which region our SQL server is deployed? This is the one of the way we can find out in which region we have created our SQL server. Okay. So sometimes if you are facing any issues, like in the right now, I don't have any routers or anything. So if you are facing any issues, so that sometimes you need to add these IPs in the router list, so that you can able to connect from your resource to that Azure SQL server. For that purpose only, Microsoft has publicly given these public IP addresses. These are like gateways. Okay, so this is what our gateways looks like here. No, not here. This is the gateway. This is the gateways list that they are given. Now if you see here, I'm going to go create one more SQL server database. uh, Not this thing. Now see here. Now like if I go with the uh, basic, I don't have standard. We will see that, right? Premium, in the premium we don't have anything. If I go with the vCore purchasing model, for the general purpose, if you see here, hardware configuration up to vcores up to 220 GB is there. So maximum cores I can go with this. Okay, I don't have the enable. So you need to select the series. Okay, as of now it is not allowing me. Why? Because for the tree. Okay, now I got it. Minimum we can't change it. So I can go with the up to 80 cores. See the billing how it could be, right? Per second we have to this second. For 60 seconds how much it could be, and for 1 hour, for 1 hour how it will be, like so many things. So if I go with the provision v codes, maximum v codes, Okay, now we will talk with the provision and serverless. So how many of you aware of that? Okay, auto close option and on-prem SQL server. So if I go with the select star from dot databases, see all are like disable only. I will name. See, so auto close is option means it means we have disabled auto close options. It means what? Whenever there is no connections on these databases, the pages which is been there in the memory that will get that will flush to the disk only. So they will they I mean it is not going to use the CPU. Whenever the first connection going to hit, at the time only first time you will get an error saying that database is in recovery. It will show some percentage. Okay, so the same option in the micros they have named it as a serverless. In the serverless you can say computer or auto scale bill per second. Okay, okay, it means the same option what we have discussed auto close, they have named it as a serverless. In serverless, okay, minimum I will select the serverless. If we go, whenever the SQL bill, this is for per second, this is per hour. So here whenever the it will increase, okay, it will I mean the whenever there is no workload, that it will get reduced, the CPUs also will get used, the bill will also get used. Whenever we have a requirement of resources, it will use that much of CPU, that will we will get that uh, bill accordingly. Now we go minimum, even though if use doesn't use, it is going to charge 0.5 week or that is the minimum thing. Okay, maximum you can set it this many week course, that you can see that this much of maximum memory you will get as per the course. Now you here the database is not active and you want to pause it. If you enable this option, by default 1 hour, if there is no activity for 1 hour, then the database will go into sleep mode. That is what it is there in auto in the name of auto close in on-prem SQL server. Okay, so within 1 hour the SQL server will go into sleep mode. Generally we call it as a auto pause mode. So if you like zone redundant, you can able to configure this option. Otherwise see it's additional cost only. That's the reason it is separately they are highlighting it. Okay, so this we will discuss more on serverless in further sessions. Why we do it? Because like most of these tickets we used to get on serverless only. So my SQL server not going to in sleep mode. I got so much billing? I don't want to pay this much of amount. So you just have a look what went wrong. So we will use our Microsoft tools in the backend, and we will see that like what are the services. I mean, what are that blockings that is being there? Blocking means not our blockings. Okay, SQL Server blockings. I mean, see what are the things that are making this database not going to sleep mode. Okay, so that's how it is like. Now I will create one more database. Come to test database, you see the differences. For showing the differences, I am creating the database especially from like database pool. Now dbw, see our SQL databases is different, this database is different. See, if you see this, Azure SQL Synapse database difference. Now you will see, you will get to know that. Okay. Um, Okay. Now if we go with the resource limitations, meanwhile, so like general purpose, hyperscale. Okay. Now if you see here, so these many connections we have. SLOs. For general purpose, if we go with the 0, 0.5 vCore to 1 vCore, server is generation 5, we used to get this many memory. Auto pass details is very same, and this is the maximum database size. See, like I will tell you one more interview tip. In the interview, Harsha, I want to migrate one database to Azure. Okay, so how you are going to, like, which service, what are the things that going to you consider? Now for that, the best answer is, if you want to migrate to Azure, not Azure, for see, whenever you talk or you got any question from interview, you need to ask them in the reverse that which may know which service you want to migrate it. Is it Azure SQL database? Is it managed instance? Is it like Azure VM? Now, so you need to specify that, you have to be very clear up on that. Okay, now you said that Azure SQL database only. Now, now what are the questions that, so things that we need to ask: what is the database size? Okay, uh, what are the futures, what are the futures that required, okay, for the project. Okay, so you you need to ask these two things. If the database size is, what is that, what is the existing CPU configuration, CPU configuration that it is been, it's been currently using. Okay, so you need to ask the, using these three things, if we get answers to these three things, so we can recommend, okay, either we are compatible or not with the this whether with this PaaS service or not. If I say with the my database is having 20 GB. Okay, so what are the features it required? It requires instance level features. Okay, like cross database queries, something there's a something like that. Okay, existing CPU configuration is, like 4 cores. Okay, now you tell me, if I shall I go with the basic here? Hello, anyone, please? Hello. Yeah.
No, no, you can't
I
go with
cannot
basic.
go with. Okay, so now I have to go with the standard only. Now if I go with the premium, so how many, 1 week or is equal to 100 DTUs, right? 4 into 100 means 400 vcores I need. If you go with the DTU core model. Okay, so you know that, Harsha, I'm okay with the, I don't want to go with the CPU model unrequired. For this answer, we will discuss on Monday. Like uh, cross database queries support is will be there only for select commands, not for the DML commands. So it means we are not suitable, or we other what are the other alternatives we are having. So we are having some features in general purpose. I am showing, I will show you one thing. 2019. Okay. If you right now I am in the master, right? If I use like test database, so even the use statement is also not yet not supported to switch one database to another database in Azure. So like this, we are having unsupported features. So we are going to go see what are the features that is being there. So when we are when we want to move to Azure SQL database, so after determining all of these database size and existing CPU configuration, everything, the second thing what you need is whether we are not falling in the current limitations what Azure is having. That's the thing you need to identify. You need to check. We will see that future so that we can discuss and we can. So one thing, if we want to migrate directly immediately we have to do for three dry runs. Okay, first we will move that to Azure and one copy of the database, and we will say that to the application team, just use this application and let me know if any errors are there so that we can use other alternatives. So like that, we once we error got, we will troubleshoot and we will go with the second mode dry run. Like that everything will be done. After one fine day, we will migrate all the required databases to the Azure SQL database. This is how in the real time works. Okay, and meanwhile, let's see whether the database got created or not. Deployment succeeded. Now, if you go with, I am disconnecting this one. So now you are seeing the difference, right? How this test database looks, how the DW database looks. Are you able to find the difference, right? Yes.
Yes.
Now if you right,
Yes, yes.
yeah,
Yes.
see, now these are, we have gendered skip database option. If I give the properties, so if we go this default options, this is the only problem. Okay, so we will data options permissions, we don't have this kind of permissions and everything. Okay, so like the Azure SQL database is like, apart, I will tell you one thing here. So here I am having Azure SQL database past database. So in Azure we have one more SQL Server database which is comes under Azure SQL database only, but it is embedded Azure SQL database. It means I know I'm a DB admin. I can create manual SQL Server, but the guys, Power BI guys, or like analytics guys, they don't know how to create Azure SQL database. They will deploy Azure Synapse Analytics. So in if you we do that internally, Azure SQL database will get created. They don't know anything. Okay, but Azure Analytics Synapse services will default will get created. It is also called as Azure SQL database only. So this is not required for just information purpose only. This is not considered as a separate service. This Azure SQL database only internally embedded with the Azure Synapse Analytics. Whenever they deploy Synapse Analytics, it by internally they will it will get created. Okay, so this is I am done for the day. Okay, so how now I'm closing this recording.